it can take you 5 years. You could be 5 years building something because you have a family and because you have to provide, and that's totally understandable.
Hey there, I'm Maida Leon, and my mission is to help creatives like you translate what you love to do into a highly profitable income. I'm a mom of 3 who began as a lettering artist and grew it into a 6-figure business. If I made it possible, so can you. Every week, we'll dive deep into topics like building your confidence, getting comfortable talking about money, and nurturing your passion while juggling life and family. So if you're an ambitious creative who wants to craft the life you love, get cozy, feel at home, and listen to the Confident Creator Show. Jimbo Bernaus is an accomplished hand lettering artist and graphic designer, and he's most known for the powerful color palettes and clever design techniques he uses to demonstrate mastery of the form. Many of his pieces are accented with floral embellishments, a design motif that has captured the attention of thousands across social media. And today, the Croatia-based designer is the co-founder of BAM Creative Studio, also known as Shout BAM on Instagram, which specializes in letter crafting, illustration, and digital and educational products to help amateur letterers enhance their skills. And in this episode, we are going to talk about how he expanded his business by transitioning from client work to creating products and teaching online. Welcome to the show, Jimbo.
Hi, Mai. What's up? So glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate your time. Now, I know that this is a very interesting topic and a lot of people want to know more about how you did it. But before we dive into our main focus, which is your move from client work to creating products and online teaching, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would like to know more about you. So can you share with us how you started with your lettering journey? What made you choose lettering instead of other art forms?
Yeah, totally. I am actually a graphic designer. I studied graphic design in university, I believe like 8 years ago or something like that. I finished. And, one of the classes was basically typography, right? And after, the teacher, kind of one of the assignments was to make our own fonts and all that kind of thing. And after we felt a little bit more comfortable with the craft of doing those fonts, he came one day and said, hey, maybe we can start doing some calligraphy. It's kind of trendy right now, and probably you're going to be using it in your career later on. And we got so confused because we didn't even know that you could make a living out of calligraphy anymore, And so he had no clue what he was doing. And at the same time, he just wanted to learn along with us, right? So we all started learning together. And after 5 or 6 months, that we were doing all those brush strokes, and all that, he introduced us to lettering. So basically how to take all that we learned alongside him and kind of starting, using lettering techniques and crafting all these shapes that nobody actually knew what was about, because lettering was not a new thing. Obviously, it's been out for a while, but after coming from a really normal graphic design bachelor degree, it was something new and different. And we all started doing lettering, and from that point on, I started traveling, and then I don't know. It felt just natural, I fell in love with any kinds of alphabets and crafting all those things. It was super interesting, and I just probably I didn't even realize, And then I got my first client after a year or something like that, and from that point on, it just rolled out, and until today, I guess. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, that's interesting. Well, have you ever tried other letter forms such as, calligraphy, I know you've dabbled into typography and graphic design, but have you tried calligraphy? Because I did that. When I was doing lettering, I was kind of like finding myself and really what was it for me. And at the time, I was designing scrapbook products, but not a lot because Alphonse was already born. So my son who has Down syndrome, he was born. And of course, he needs a lot of care and all that. So I was finding myself, am I going to do surface pattern design? Is that going to be illustration, which I'm terrible at? I'm so bad at illustration. And I don't even understand why I tried to, enroll in illustration classes, even though I'm so terrible at it. The only thing that I can illustrate well are letters, basically. I tried calligraphy. It hates me. So I went back to lettering. So have you tried calligraphy in, like maybe before?
Yes, actually. So as I told you, kind of like I got the basics with my teacher, and with those basics, I like after a while, I was actually teaching calligraphy for a good while. I was doing just like modern brush pen calligraphy. I think I did around 10 workshops from 2015 until 2018. I also went to Nepal for volunteering, and I was teaching calligraphy to little kids there, which was amazing.
That is interesting. I love it.
Yeah. So, after I was kind of coming back from, like I was bouncing in between calligraphy and lettering. And at some point I saw that the calligraphy skills I had were really good when it comes to lettering, because I understood the main structure and skeletons of, let's say, script letters and stuff like that. And I think I got to the point that I went back to my graphic design roots, right? And that's why I got full time into lettering. That I found it, like, especially digital lettering. By the time I bought the iPad Pro, that kind of changed the whole game.
Yeah.
And so I decided to ditch calligraphy completely, because that was another universe that made me happy for a while. But then I kind of discovered my true self by coming back to my roots and just use letters as well. I mean, drawing letters, that's the base of lettering. Yeah. So
basically, you started your transition quite early on. You were doing client work and then you were teaching calligraphy on the side, or potentially hand lettering, right? So that was your first experience in expanding your business from just outside client work. Is that it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, because I also, when I moved to Croatia, that's where I'm based now with my partner. I was working in an agency. So basically there I was using my calligraphy techniques and my lettering and my graphic design. I was using everything there. And I remember this huge project for a wine label. They had 100 super good customers, and they wanted for me to draw their names onto the label. So the label had this super nice white crafty paper, and the whole thing was for me to do calligraphy of 100 names on 100 bottles of wine. Yeah, so I think that was the biggest commission that I got when it comes to calligraphy. But yeah, I think as I'm telling you, I was bouncing in between those things, and then I just realized that calligraphy didn't fulfill me that much anymore, and that's why I came back to doing just lettering. And recently, like 2 years ago, I started combining as well some illustration into my letters.
Yeah, your illustrations into your letters are what really caught my eye on Instagram. Your work is really pretty amazing. And I think I remember, did I send you one of my books?
Yes, you did. Yeah, so I think it was back in 2017 or 18 or something. And I was with my friends in the seaside, and I think you put out some kind of contest or something.
Yeah, yes.
I think the thing was like to draw our name with some illustration. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah,
But it was
yes.
yeah, and I won. Yeah, super excited. And yeah, you sent me the book, which I love, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm probably one of the very few lettering artists who doesn't know calligraphy. I just know that calligraphy is calligraphy. I don't know how to do it.
Well, it really doesn't matter, you know. I think I took it as a way to get there, but there is a bunch of ways to get there, and I think yours was a complete different one that one I took. So yeah, also
Yeah.
correct. It's fine.
Yeah. So tell us about BAM. When did you start it? Like,
Okay, so yeah, I think that goes back to 2000. Well, let me go back a little bit more. So you know that I was telling you that I've learned calligraphy with my teacher and all that. Well, by that time, I also went for an Erasmus program
mhm.
into Estonia, like the north of Europe, and there I met my partner in crime, which I say all the time, Thea. So yeah, she's my girlfriend and she's my partner in BAM. And well, I moved to her city after Croatia, and I stayed. So like I think now I'm there for 5 years or something. And at one point we were in Budapest in Hungary, and we decided to, you know, maybe we could start some graphic design studio together, because she's also a super talented illustrator and graphic designer. And we were like, why not, you know? And so we came back to Croatia. I took my old job for 6 months just to sustain us a little bit.
Mhm.
And on the side, we started doing, she was full time and I was just part time. And we started doing all the papers and everything to open the studio. We also got a small studio in the center of Zagreb. If anybody is there, they're super invited to come. And yeah, so I'm talking about 2016, I believe, that we started the studio.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's been 5 years.
5 years.
That's a lot.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So what like you mentioned you decided to open a studio because it was kind of like inspired by your girlfriend, right? You started because you
Yeah.
started going out together. Yeah, that's actually the next question I'm going to ask. Like, what made you
Okay.
decide to add that additional income stream? But since you already mentioned that, I am gonna ask something else. Like, what are the different products you are selling or offering or services you're offering inside your studio?
Okay, so I think we could divide it into three main categories. So basically, the first one that's the one that I kind of left behind, but just a little bit, you know, that those would be the clients, always with the same style, sort of, you know. But we sometimes get some identity or packaging design. Lately, we've been doing packaging design, for example, or some murals. We also did like 5 murals, Thea and that was super fun. So that's one of the things that, you know, we found out that we couldn't rely on anymore, because it was always about having clients, and like it was never, let's say, a peaceful time for us, right? So August would come and probably we didn't have a client, and then we would panic, and you know, all that sort of thing. So I think right now at the moment we are trying to get to the point that we just get a couple clients, 3 clients stops per year. But those are like, you know, clients that allow us to be ourselves and allow us to experiment and, you know, use all these colors that you see in our website and all that. So we started doing products, right? And that kind of helped us out, you know, building another stream of money, you know.
Yeah.
The passive income that the products have given us was like really, really good, because it allowed us to just you know, if in August there is no client, well, you know, our shop still sells, so there is no panic anymore, right? So we build this kind of pillow that allow us to be a bit more freer, right? So yeah, these products would be the second thing. And the third thing that we are doing right now is teach online, right? And how do we do this? Well, we do it sometimes through a company we work with all the time called Design Cuts. We do live sessions with them almost once a month. And on the other hand, as well, we have a YouTube channel now, and also some of the products. So sorry, guys, I'm going all over the place here a little bit.
No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. I love it. You're actually, I'm getting the hang of it. Like, I know exactly where you are going. So don't worry. You can go.
Okay, there's so many things that you never know how to put. I should make a list like here. That's it. Yeah. So okay. So the products we do, half of them are just Procreate brushes and basically like things that help you give like these nice textures that we always play with. We always go to the street, take photos and convert all those into brushes. Yeah, so that's the main thing we do. And then there's another couple products called, like, for example, one is called the Kickoff Lettering Toolbox and the other one is called this Layout Lettering Masterclass. And those two are basically Procreate workbooks that allow you to improve your lettering skills. So one takes you through all like building letters, and the other one kind of guides you through the layout of lettering, right? So yeah, it kind of, the products have brushes.
Like a path, right?
Yeah, they're all like together, right? Because then as well, our YouTube platform teaches you how to also use those brushes and how to use those products. So it's kind of like it's kind of like tied up together, right?
Yeah, yes.
And now the most recent thing that we would like to do in the future is to do our own lettering course, And well, right now I'm also selling. We're gonna be doing a course with Domestika. Mm-hmm. And this is gonna be this introduction to actual, a big course with somebody. So I'm super excited. Yeah.
Well, yes, it's super exciting for you. It looks like you have it all together. Like, I love that you mentioned your products are all tied up together. When we were when you were talking about all the different products that you have in the shop, I was like, wow, he already has created a path for lettering artists. And basically that's what they needed. Like, you need to get this first, and then this, and then this. It's like feeding the addiction, Okay, because lettering artists, we tend to want one thing, and then tomorrow we're going to want another thing. And then, I need to creatify my work. I'm going to need brushes, and then I'm going to need textures next. Okay, so that's how it goes. And I think you have created that particular path in your shop, which is pretty amazing. And funny, you mentioned August, where you always don't get clients. I think you were talking about the one-to-one work, right? That's exactly the reason why I also one of the reasons, of course, was my myofascial pain syndrome. The other was the one-to-one work. So I did one-to-one work, which is client work. And sometimes you have a client for 4 months, and then you'll have none. Sometimes you will worry if there is going to be a client coming in. I know that, although a lot of people have been experiencing that actually, right? They will take as many clients as they can on some months, and then on other months, it will be like dry season. And typically, the dry season that we call, when I was in the scrapbooking world, we call the dry season somewhere July and August. Literally, because it's summer in the US and most people are having vacations, the kids are at home, so moms have no time to scrapbook. That's the reason. Yeah, and I did realize that is essentially the same thing for what you have done in your business. Wow, that's really interesting. And yes, that's the reason why I'm teaching one-to-many approach now. Because I also did one-on-one coaching. And for 2 years, the first year I was coaching 12. Okay. And the next year I was coaching 8. So I was like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of calls every single week. So I wanted to scale the business. So one-on-one is good and profitable. However, it's not scalable. Okay. So
Exactly.
when I say scalable, you can't grow it exponentially. And I wanted to scale my business. So the only reason that the only thing that I'm seeing at the time is like, I need to transition this from one-to-one to one-to-many. And I'm glad that you opened up that topic in this podcast because that is exactly what I'm teaching right now. If you want to scale and grow, really, you just have to move from one-to-one to one-to-many, or maybe add that income stream in your business. All right. Because it's difficult when you rely too much on client work, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm also aware that, if you build your client list, and you work with like different companies or different agencies, I'm aware that if you need work, you can always reach out to them, and for sure you're gonna get something, right? But yeah, on the other hand, I just I kind of felt the need to build my community, and that's something that we really give importance. I'm really happy when there is a happy customer, when there is a happy client, let's put it that way, right? So I'm really happy when there is a packaging design or whatever it might be, and everybody is happy. We drink what we produced in the end, and it's awesome. The client is happy, we are happy, everybody's happy. But then on the other hand, seeing the happiness of all those individuals that are kind of learning with what we try to teach in the platform makes us so much happy, because it's just not one person, right? There's like so many of them, and they're super lovely, and we love interacting with them, and we love, if they're struggling with something, we love helping them. And yeah, and that it really fills us up, we're super happy about
this. That is so true. And exactly, that is exactly the same thing that I have told my students this afternoon. So I sent them a video, and what I said was like, your business should not just be beneficial to you. It should also be beneficial to your clients. So it should be win-win to both of you, because if it's just a win for you, then your client are not going to buy from you anymore. But if it's just a win for the client, you're not going to be happy either. So it has to be both ways. And it's interesting that we find happiness when we see that our students are, making success. I am always, so when somebody makes like a 5-figure income or a 6-figure income, I'm the first one to cheer, and I will share it to the universe, because I know that is so impressive, and it makes my heart really, really happy to help somebody achieve that. I hope, I'm pretty sure that is also the same thing for you.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Yeah. It's just, I mean, like I put it that way always, I'm always trying for them to win. That's why, before, there's so much, for example, when Tia and I do one of these brush sets, we really pour our souls into it. So like, for instance, the kickoff lettering toolbox, we spent over 6 months working on that. And,
wow.
And, of course, we were afraid. We were afraid that we might not sell that thing. We were afraid that maybe people wouldn't, support the thing. But I think during these 6 months, we were asking them things. We were, communicating with them. We were asking what they struggle with, and we really created those connections with all those people. And then these people helped us out after, right? So they saw all this energy and value we put into that thing, and they decided to to support us. And so the kickoff was the first product that we sold a lot in the first months.
Woohoo! And congratulations!
Thanks. It was super. It was a success for us, and just by seeing all these people saying nice things, we were going to bed super cozy and super happy, true. That we actually did something, not just for us, but for everybody else that actually bought that.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? And but something actually people don't always realize, that sometimes they will see these products that you put out there, and some people will think that, oh, I can do that too. Maybe I can create something like that. What they don't know is that it takes so much work behind the scenes. So, but it's interesting to have that level of interest from other people, like wanting to learn what you actually do. And maybe someday, instead of just teaching lettering, you can also teach other people how to create brushes and stuff like that, right? That could be a possibility.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Actually, yeah. We actually have it in mind, to probably. I mean, we wanted to, as I said before, to expand our business and do actual, because we are building the new website, and it's not gonna. We won't have a blog anymore, but we're gonna have a learning experience, name it academy or design school or whatever it might be. We still don't know how we're going to name it, but it's basically going to be just all these YouTube tutorials and all these blogs that we had until now, but we want to build it bigger, right? So maybe in the future, there's going to be a full course on lettering. I would love that. And probably for sure, Thea and I have discussed to teach people how to do brushes as well, and do all sorts of brushes we do, from pencils to texture brushes to patterns to, whatever it might be, wherever it might be that we do. So yeah, totally. Yeah, that's for sure something that's going to happen at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is so interesting. What a path, right? You started from lettering and you started from graphic design and then learning typography. And all of a sudden you find yourself with lettering. Interesting, right? So when I look at my journey, it's always like that. Also, like I started blogging actually. I even went as a wedding planner. I even turned a wedding planner at one point, and then blogging to scrapbooking to lettering, and then lettering to teaching, and now teaching and coaching. So the path that we take. And I think the most important, the key in there is to just start somewhere, right? People are always asking you, where do I start? How do I do this? But they don't know that starting is big, because people are always looking for clarity. And I'm always telling that people, when you are looking for clarity, you're actually just making an excuse to not take action, because you find clarity in the doing. So when you are looking to start, you just start somewhere. Maybe it's just posting something on social media, starting your first letter form, or writing your first word. Just do it, because you'll never really know where it will take you, right? You have been on an interesting path. I have been on that same path. So our paths might be different, but eventually it all just started with when we started posting on social media, right?
Yeah, with something, with whatever it might be. That's it. A lot of people ask me like, but how did you get to the point? How do you what was the time that you knew that you had a style? For example, that's a question that I get a lot, right?
Me too.
And I'm like, I don't have a style, and that's what I'm telling them. Like I don't. I'm so much diversified that sure, I'm going to put some florals because I love it. Sure, I'm going to put letters, and sure, I'm going to be teaching how to do an illustration sometimes, like for sure, because, it's like the way I feel, and the way, like if today I feel like, I remember one of the most seen reels that I did for Instagram was how to draw your own Sharpie, So that's really not related to any lettering, but that thing exploded, right? So yeah, in the end, it's just it's as you said, right? It's your path. And I think there is no wrong things you did in the past, because I think everything helps you shape yourself
exactly
to what you're gonna be, right? So yeah, I mean, it's just like, I think the best thing you can do is just let it flow, and you're gonna get to a point at some point that, for example, you started blogging, and that's helping you nowadays.
Yeah,
that was your first thing, but this helped you build your business. So, and maybe, when you were doing scrapbooking, maybe you didn't know that blogging would actually end up helping you so much, because I think it did at some point. So yeah.
Yep. It's
enjoy
just one step at a time. If I didn't do blogging, I might not have discovered scrapbooking, which in turn might have turned me into a lettering artist and eventually an online educator. So it all works in stages. If you're looking for what am I gonna do today, you're actually never gonna know that. because your journey will change as the years go by, as different interests gets in your life and in your mind. So that will be really ever changing. You just have to let it go, let it flow, and accept whatever comes your way and eliminate those that doesn't bring you joy.
Exactly. Actually, this morning, I totally agree. This morning I did a live session with my friend Jasmine Designs from Australia, and she asked me that question. That she was saying if I could go travel in like back in time, what advice would I give to myself, right? And then we kind of come to, like, I think after talking about it for 5 minutes, we came to the conclusion that nothing, right? Because that's how I got here, and probably by telling my my past self that physics and maths were not a thing for me, probably that wouldn't have fueled me into doing something else, right? So I think when I was young, I'm sorry for the word, but I was probably hating, all those physics that I was learning in school. And
you're not alone.
And maybe that thing kind of made me love more arts and design. So yeah, I mean, just enjoy your path. And I think in the end, you're just going to get somewhere, no matter what you do right now, you're going to get somewhere in the future. And I don't know if maybe in 5 years, I'm going to be teaching illustration. Who knows? Probably.
Yeah.
I don't want to define myself.
True. And the things that have happened, the things that we have encountered in the past makes us appreciate what we have right now. And you mentioned physics? Me, it was calculus that I hate the most.
Exactly.
Because I am an engineering student. I graduated electronics and communications engineering. So
and you even graduated.
Yeah, I did. And that is why I'm so obsessed with straight lines and the perfect. That is the reason why I wanted all my letters super perfect as much as possible. And then eventually I started loosening up because of that influence from the engineering world.
But still, maybe you had the style you got because of that, right? So you see, everything helps for sure.
Yes. And style, speaking of style, you don't know your style. The people who sees your work are the ones who are going to tell what your style is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you just, whenever you grab the iPad and you start doing something, you're not thinking, oh, I should, be really close to what I'm using all the time so people see that it's me. No, I mean, you just do it. And I think your style is more, if you enjoy doing what you do, it's just gonna show. People will see that you enjoy it. Sometimes I did a piece just because I had to, right? And that was something that couldn't be found as something as mine, something that was mine, right? So, but whenever I get into the iPad and I listen to a podcast or I just let myself go, I think my style just comes naturally in the piece, right? So yeah, I don't think anybody should force that thing. Just let it flow and it's going to come naturally.
True. And so let's go back for a while to your business. You mentioned you have different categories that you offer in the studio, like in BAM Studio, right? So if you are to pick one that is most profitable, what will be it? What will be that one thing?
That's a tough question. You mean regarding
in terms of finances? What's the most profitable product?
Well, making products.
Selling products. I would probably. Basically.
Yeah, I would probably choose that. Yeah, because I think we've built a platform around it and we are building the newsletter and we build all this thing around us. And I think right now at the moment, when it comes to this, we would, I don't know about Thea, but I think when it comes to me, I would probably choose that, right? Yeah.
So how did diversifying your income help you personally and your business?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's also a tough one. No, okay. So I think it helped us both when it comes to not getting bored just doing one thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So it's basically
Yeah.
the sentence would be doing a lot of things in the same way. So, and that's what we do, right? We do colorful stuff and happy stuff in whatever we do. So, for example, I could never allow myself just to do products, and that's something we've discussed a lot of times in the studio. But we need the clients sometimes. We need the fulfillment of having a product we've designed. A couple of years ago we designed a rum, and the last year we designed a kombucha drink. And those things, sometimes, if it's for a smaller brand or whatever it may be, maybe it's not as profitable as something else. But the fact that we finished with a product that we were drinking in the studio, that was super cool, right? So I
I'm
think,
pretty sure.
yeah, so I think the diversifying has helped us both professionally and personally, because we don't get bored with one thing, right? So
Yeah.
we touch all these things.
Different
I couldn't,
aspects.
for example, exactly, I wouldn't be able to be teaching lettering the whole time. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I do regularly. Like every day I teach something somewhere, maybe in YouTube or my blog or in my Instagram or something. But at the same time I'm doing a product, and at the same time maybe I'm going to take on a nice packaging design that's going to last for 4 months, but it's going to give us this fulfillment that I was talking about.
Yeah, exciting. That is so, so fun. And I think it's one of the common issues with creatives. We get bored so easily.
Totally.
I know, because I have never lasted more than 3 years in a company. I used to work for different corporations, and the longest that I have been in a company is 3.5 years. That's it. And during the last 6 months in the company, I was already feeling stressed that whenever I get out of so I will ride the elevator, get in the elevator, fine. I'll get out of the car, fine. Get in the elevator, still okay. But once it opens to the floor that I was working on and I step out, I'm going to feel very, very dizzy. And I don't know, I had to crawl. Not
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really like making me dizzy when I had to sit on my desk. So those last 6 months in the company has been really stressful. And that was because I was finding what I had to do. And maybe I'm not suited for corporate work. But yeah. So
No, I totally get it. Yeah, I was the same. I took, so this agency work that I did in Croatia was was divided in two. So I did 6 months as an intern. Then I stopped doing it. I traveled a bit, and then I did 6 months as a junior designer.
wow.
And after 6 months, I just said, that's it. That it's been enough for me. And I remember that my creative director at the time said that I needed to build more muscle. Shout out to him. I love him. But I didn't agree with him at that time. I was like, I mean, sure. I think it's to see the corporate world is really interesting, because I think
Mhm.
to get experience in it really helps you later on, probably. But I was just sick of it. I knew that there was something else I had to do, and I knew that I loved lettering and illustration, and there I was just doing so many things, that I couldn't enjoy myself.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned quite an interesting thing earlier. So instead, there are times that yes, we don't like what we're doing in the company, but that can also somehow serve us in a different way. For example, you mentioned you were side hustling when you
Yeah.
were putting up the studio because you need the funds, of course, and you are probably not going to be accepting a lot of clients at the time because you're building a studio and all that stuff. But having that side hustle, you're working for a company, right? Help you get the money that you need to pay the bills, to pay for everything else, to put food on the table and a roof over your head, right?
Exactly.
So, and that's one thing that not many people, I think, consider when they are either starting to go from freelance, from full corporate to freelance, or freelance to diversifying their income. Most of them will just really get out of the job and, you know, gamble.
Just go full in.
Yeah, just go
Gamble.
all
Yeah,
in
yeah,
and
yeah.
gamble. Like, I don't know if I can actually do that, because I worked I designed scrapbook products for 2 years while I was working in my the last company that I had worked
Yeah.
on, and I was barely having enough sleep at the time, just so I could
Right.
make the side hustle work, so that when I leave it, that's exactly the reason why leaving the corporate world was a no-brainer to me, because I'm already making money online. So if you are,
Exactly.
if you guys are considering perhaps diversifying your income or leaving your day job, maybe settle down for a bit and get that money that you need to pay for the bills, so you don't, scramble for cash and just accept just about any clients so you can make that extra money. You still need to, respect your art, respect yourself, and get them to pay what you're truly worth, right?
Exactly. And I think at some point, so I mentioned that I was, Thea was full time in the studio, and then I was probably like 2 hours per day, and that's the time I thought I need, in order to settle things, So it's also, some people really think that they have to put so much effort in starting a side hustle, and I think as long as you're constant, it doesn't matter if you put half an hour every day or you put 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
Because you can still be like for a couple of years in working from 9 to 5, but at the same time, if you do half an hour every day of that side hustle, I think that's gonna just build up over time, right? So I think, and since we're talking about certain numbers here, I think if the listeners wanna jump on that boat, I think it's a personal thing, and I think each of us have different paths, and again, just be constant, and you don't have to just get super stressed about it. It can take you 5 years. You could be 5 years building something because you have a family and because you have to provide, and that's totally understandable.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly, you mentioned that. I always tell people I am not one who can potentially build thousands and hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. And why? Because other people pick up pen and pencil or paper and pencil when they wake up in the morning. They're going to have coffee while doing lettering. Whereas me, I'm going to have to pick up my son's diaper before doing anything else. So that is the reason why I have very limited time. That's also the reason why I am, trying to work less, but not trying to work. I work less, but I want to make more. That is my mantra.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's more beneficial.
That's complicated, but yeah. I mean, it's been proven, that in a lot of countries, I mean, we are used to working 8 hours per day if you're in a company.
Mm-hmm.
But some of my friends that are working full time in their own businesses, they work 4 hours a day. They work 5 hours a day.
I do.
But, exactly. But those 4 or 5 hours are totally under control, and they've been studied and managed, and you know what you're doing, because I know a lot of people that are working 8 hours in some big companies, and they really don't work 8 hours. Some of them, yeah, I'm not saying that they don't, but a lot of people don't put the same effort in those 8 hours.
Yes.
And instead, in some countries, you have 6 hours, right? So, and it's been proven that people work more and they produce more because they also value their freedom. And then if you let them go and they have half day for free, they're going to come happier tomorrow, right? So in the end, I think it's more important to produce and be and count your time and make sense of your time than just be there sitting for like
True.
half a day.
You know what? I used to work 14 hours a day during my first 2 years with lettering. No, not first 2 years, because the first year I didn't have help. So I only do 2 to 3 hours work when my son is taking a nap. That's about the amount of time that I can do for the hand lettering part. And then when we got help, so she stayed with us, lived with us, and cared for the kids and helped me around the house. I was working 14 hours a day, and then I am so done with it. I got so exhausted and tired because I've been working all day. And the funny thing is, there will be times when I will count everything that I have done and I'll be, so this is it? These are the things that I have done for the day? Because some of it are checking emails, checking social media, commenting, and all that stuff. So all the things, when you start accounting for your time, you will discover how many hours you are spending away from work. So when I started my 4-hour deep work, it was really, really like super relieved because I can have more time for the kids. I can sleep whenever I want. I can take a nap if I want to, because I know that I have these 4 hours. And that 4 hours, sometimes I divide it so it can be 2 hours daily in the morning or 2 hours in the afternoon. It changed every so often because I have a kid. Before, I used to work 4 hours in the morning, and then they grew up, and then they needed so many things in the morning. So I had my deep work after lunch. That's the only time that I can focus on the work. So it's not like a one size fits all. It's not permanent. You can only use, just focus on it and see what works for you. Don't follow what works for other people, because what works for Pete might not work for Jimbo.
Exactly. And by the end of the day, we all work in a creative industry. And I think the more stressed you are, and that's something that I'm still learning nowadays. Some days I work 14 hours a day because I really think that I need to put those 15 hours, 14 hours or whatever. But what I realized is after 2 days working so many hours, I'm not creative. I'm not producing anything that's worth anything, because sometimes it happens, like if I know that I have 4 hours and I just have to do one task, I'm just going to focus on that one task and I'm going to do it perfectly, because I have peace of mind that I just have to do that. But if I have 8 hours and I set, let's say, 12 tasks for myself in that amount of time, again, I'm like you said before, I'm going to do a lot of things, but then I'm going to come back to what I did and I'll be like disappointed, because I think it takes, the other day I was reading, and it takes more time to switch from one task to the other. Like it takes like more mental power, let's put it that way, than just focusing on one thing at a time. So I think it's better to do 2 tasks every day and do 8 by the end of the week than doing a bit of 8 tasks every single day and be 10 hours doing though.
I think that is an influence, because we both work inside corporations, right? In companies, different companies. And multitasking is one of the requirements, right? I know that. So it's like my boss would always tell me to multitask. So I'll be checking emails while doing this. But eventually you'll realize it's not really effective.
No.
It's not really effective, because you cannot serve 2 masters at the same time. You cannot write an email and then think of something else. I don't know. It's just crazy. I can't even listen to music when I'm writing.
Me neither. When I'm creating something, so first I brief myself and I'm like, okay, now I know what to do. I have a sketch. Now I can watch series. I can listen to a podcast. I can, whatever it might be. But when I have to write, I have to be in peace. But I know also that if I put some music on, I would probably write the same thing maybe, but it's going to take me 10 times more. Yes. So I rather get done with it and just move on than, or for example, when I write emails, I set myself that maybe one day I'm just going to reply all the emails that I have. And that's it. And I sit down, and I think when I just have to do this, I reply 10 emails in 1 hour. And whereas if I had to reply one email each day, just the the mental power that takes to open the email and let's think what I'm gonna say. It's harder definitely than just replying all at once.
Yep. True. And I have stopped checking email first thing in the morning. That's the number one thing that my business coach taught me. Stop checking your email first thing in the morning. Check it before you go to lunch and check it after you're done with business day. That's it.
Now I was about to ask you when you check. Yeah, that's interesting. So before lunch and you said, and in the end?
After and before you end your working day. So basically
right.
I end my working day at 5 or 6-ish, depending. So that's it. The last thing I'm ever going to do is check my emails. Sometimes I sneak in a little bit before bedtime, but that's it. But I'm not really actually working. So I can just focus on that 4 hours deep work. I call it deep work because that's the time that I am thinking. And even in that deep work, I also have my timer. I don't know if you see it right there behind me, beside all of those pens.
Yeah.
So that is my timer. And I put a timer when I'm writing emails. So because I write very long emails sometimes. Yeah. I don't know. I share so many stories and I write a lot of emails, and I just need to put my timer on myself so that I don't spend so much time writing, and I can do many other tasks that I have for the day.
Right. Can I ask you a question though?
Sure.
So it's interesting that you read your email so before lunch and before going home or before stopping work. But do you actually check and reply those emails at the same time, or you just check them? Like, when is the best time for you to reply? Check
and reply.
Okay, cool.
That's what I do. Check and reply.
Nice.
Because I used to do it first thing in the morning. And what happens is I would spend 2 hours in the morning just checking and responding to emails. And then somebody will reply to the email and then I'm going to reply again. So to avoid that, I just focus on responding. When a new email comes in, I'm not going to respond until later in the afternoon or late in the evening. That's how I did it.
Totally get it. Yeah. For me, the thing I do in the morning is I start my routine I try to read at least 10 minutes every day. I started that like a month ago and I want to stick with it. Yeah. And now that I'm in Barcelona, I'm right now working in a co-working space for a couple 2 months, and I have to walk 20 minutes every day. Right. So that gives me a lot of, peace of mind.
Exercise.
And then, right when I get to the co-working space, I'm super creative. And then what I do is all creative work comes from 9 in the morning till 12. So everything that sketches, whatever, that I have to be really creative. Because after lunch, everything goes downhill. And I'm especially now in the country of siesta, and after lunch, nobody has energy and it's kind of contagious. So
that is so true. I think we learned that from them. Siesta.
Oh, totally.
Yep. Yeah. So that is another thing. Okay. The first thing that you need to do in the morning is to focus on the money making part of your business.
Yeah.
Okay. So
totally.
If creating a blog or writing a blog or creating content helps you make money, it does, by the way. Do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't spend so much time on Facebook, social media, or Instagram. They are important for the business as well, but you can do it at a later time. It can wait. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, my friend Max from Lettering Daily, one of the people that helped me the most get here, he told me that he has this thing in Facebook, right, that blocks all your content, so all the timeline thing.
Co-schedule, is that it?
It's like an extension, right? And you put it there, and whenever you go to Facebook, you have nothing, and you just have a quote by a famous person, and that helped me so much. How to block all those things that in the end they're just noise. I kept saying to myself that no, I'm reading the news, but I wasn't. I was just being distracted.
You are using a blocking app. I have a friend who uses that same thing. So she cannot use her phone, I don't know, a couple of hours in a day. So just she can focus. Me, I used to it. I used to put it in the other room and then put it on silent so I don't hear it. And sometimes,
but for example, when it comes to Facebook, when I'm in Chrome and I'm, doing something in the internet, my hand would just put the F, to Google like Facebook and automatically, right? And sometimes I still do it, but since that now I know that whenever I put Facebook, there is nothing, I can't go. So I think that the phone wasn't the problem, but more the desktop app was the problem for me.
That is for you. Me, it was the phone. I will always grab my phone like every minute. The first time I moved it away, I was grabbing my phone like a crazy person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This has been an interesting topic, and I hope we have 2 hours to do this. But I respect your time, and I know that you have so much to do, but I appreciate that you have shared with us your time today. Now, before we wrap up this session, okay, is there any advice you'd want to give to anyone who would like to transition from doing client work to, which is a one-on-one service, to creating a product, or teaching, which can be considered as one-to-many service?
Okay, cool. There's a lot of things that I could say to them. The first thing that we did was to start something small. So actually the first brush that we put out was called Rough and Raw. And that took us, I think, like a month or something to have it completed. And we, at the same time we were doing client work, we were doing that, but we would just spend like, let's say 1 hour per day. So I think, again, is what we talked about before. If you're constant, you can just put like half an hour, even 10 minutes into an idea, right? So research something that you think there is a gap in the market, and then, start building it, but something small. Don't be super perfectionist. That's also something that Thea helped me a lot, because I'm super perfectionist when it comes to these things. And Thea is always the one that says, it's great, just move on, So again, by doing small things, that helped us do big things, right? So by the time that we had already 2 products and they were giving us a bit of money, we kind of felt more comfortable, because, we said to ourselves, listen, we are actually making a bit of income with this. We still can't pay the rent, but we can actually do this. It gave us, the first sale is super important. And then when you have 20 sales, you're like, okay, now I feel more motivated, right? So you start small and then you keep growing. And then, by the 3rd, 4th, 5th product, it really doesn't matter. For us was the 3rd that we could spend 6 months. But for some people could be the 12th. It really doesn't matter. But over time, you're going to get better, you're going to get faster, and you're going to be able to spend more time, because you already have a bit of money from the other products.
Yeah.
So that's something I would say.
All right. So one last thing before I let you go. Where can our listeners find you online?
Okay, so they can find me in my studio's website. It's shoutbam.com. There they can find a lot of things, and especially they can sign up for our community newsletter. Each month we put out different YouTube tutorials and the blog, and then they can find as well a lot of freebies that we keep building up. So right now I think we have over 15 freebies or something like that in the website. So that's there's a lot of value there. So yeah, you can check that out. Also, they can find us in you're gonna link those links in the notes, right?
Yeah, I am.
And then and then they can also find us in Instagram at Jimbo Bernaus or Shoutbam. And yeah, also you can support us by subscribing in our YouTube channel, which is super small, and that would be awesome because we just started.
What is your YouTube channel? What's the name of your YouTube channel?
Shoutbam Creative Studio.
Shoutbam Creative Studio.
But if you go to YouTube and put Shoutbam, that's it.
Okay.
You're going to find us.
All right. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Well, it has been a great time chatting with you, Jimbo. And again, thank you so much for giving us your time. And I hope we can invite you again in the future, because I'm sure that things are going to get better and better for you from here on out. Okay.
Yeah.
So
well, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I hope I'll see you in the future. I had so much fun, and for sure I would like to repeat that experience.
Oh my goodness. That would be awesome. And if you didn't catch up on all those links, they will be in the episode show notes. Just head over to mydeleon.com/Jimbo, JIMBO, and you'll find everything you need. And if you like this episode, leave us a review on iTunes, because every time you do, you will help the podcast get discovered by other creatives who need the inspiration to pursue their own creative dreams. And as always, keep creating and stay confident. Until next time, this is Mai.